Hey everybody, I'm Angie Goff, and this is the Oh My Goff Show. For nearly 2 decades, I've covered big stories and big names, whether it was reporting from the royal wedding, the Super Bowl, or sitting down with the First Lady. There's one thing I know for sure. Behind every headline is a human story, one filled with ups, downs, laughter, and life lessons. Each episode, we'll tap into some pretty incredible minds, people who've found true success in chasing their dream or changing the world. It's the story behind the story that I hope will inspire your own. This is the Oh My Goff Show with Angie Goff.
Off the top, flip a hot, take one look, try to read me like a book, but I'll leave them all shook, cause you can't touch a book by its cover. I'm driven by storytelling. Those are things that, I take seriously and I make sure are reflected in my music today, that if I'm going to be on the microphone, that I better be saying something worthwhile or telling a story with substance.
Work from the ground up, they craft an air like ATR with the butterfly sleeves like a Filipino.
This is a real treat. I am so happy I finally get to connect with you. Ruby Ibarra, you are a scientist by day, rap artist by night. If you could just kind of take us back to how you got here.
First, I want to say thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this space with you, to engage in this conversation. It really is a treat for me to be talking to you today. To answer your first question about my origin story, every time I think about where do I start in telling my story, it always comes back to the Philippines. I was born in a town called Tacloban City in the Philippines. And my family and I migrated to California in the 90s when I was just 5 years old. And I'm just thankful, out of all the places that, my parents could have moved to, that it was the Bay Area. And it's also a place that introduced me to hip hop. I grew up listening to artists like Tupac and Lauryn Hill, but also E40 and Hieroglyphics, who are also from the Bay Area. So I really attribute the Bay Area to the reason why I fell in love with hip hop in the first place.
How does that all come together into what Ruby Ibarra delivers when she's got the mic in her hand?
Here were these poets and these artists that not only had a very strong and powerful voice, but had something to say. And the type of themes that I talk about in my music is also heavily reflected in my own personal experiences, whether it was my immigration experience with my family or my experiences as a Filipina, as a woman of color.
Mama, I know it's gonna be fine wherever we go, cause we know your race is girl to dream and be a hero. With an ego to an eagle, I free flow when I speak though. My pipe dreams through a peephole, my skin so Filipino.
We could sit here and talk all day about your musical career and what led up to it, but then you're spending time, you're on the front lines of medicine here, working in a lab as a scientist, so a vaccine scientist. So tell me what that experience has been like.
I was just a very curious kid. I needed to know answers, and I felt like science was that one topic in school that gave me answers to why things worked the way they did. I eventually became a scientist and worked for a biotech company where we've worked on the vaccine as well as the COVID-19 test kits in this past year.
Are there any parallels in what you do in the music world to what you do when you put that lab coat on?
Especially going through this pandemic, it's given me a greater sense of responsibility. This is a work that is kind of similar to music in that it provides medicine for people. It heals people. The same way that music can heal depression, can make us feel happier, can make us feel empowered.
Yeah, I'm finally here. Yeah, I'm finally here. Sa mga banat ay bala, wag magtaka kung ako ay makatabulok na sistema. Kurakot sa pera, bagsak but we put in our heart into darkness. They put in these pigs in the office.
You developed this cult following, a very loyal following. You've got millions of views. What's the kind of reaction you get from people?
I'm still very much surprised at the traction that my videos get. To be honest with you, I started music just to be able to reflect, to be able to express myself and to let these emotions and these thoughts and these words come freely from myself. I never thought that there would be someone on the opposite end, on the listening end, appreciating or even relating to the music. And so when I see comments on YouTube specifically that say things like, for example, I've seen comments that say, I wish I had music like this growing up, or I'm so glad that I can show this type of music video to my daughter and make sure that, she feels seen. Seeing things like that, I think not only humbles me and, of course, fills me up with so much gratitude, but I think it also encourages me and inspires me to let me know that my work is valid, that there is a reason that I'm doing this kind of work. And I think, when an artist is given a purpose or feels that, they have to carry a certain responsibility, I think that really makes the work a lot more worthwhile.
You have been vocal on social media with the Stop Asian Hate campaign that's been going and hopefully will continue. How has that been for you?
It really has, been emotional for me. I think, thinking back on just this last year alone and seeing the increase in anti-Asian hate crimes and the violence and, seeing it all over social media as well as on the news, I can't help but think every time I see, especially the Asian American elders in our communities that have been attacked, I can't help but think about my parents or my grandparents or the people that I know in my very own community. And, of course, it saddens me. It fuels me. It angers me. But at the same time, as you mentioned, I'm also taking those emotions and I'm channeling them into my music. And I think, at the end of the day, it just tells me that there's a lot of work that still needs to be done in this country. A lot of discourse that still needs to be had, around race, around discrimination. But I think, one of the things that can open up these conversations and these dialogues is through the arts, whether it's through film or music. And so that's what I'm hoping to do with my next project.
If you call yourself a rapper, talk less and take notes. We slay sheep, respect goats, we praise sleep, and next hope. We take beats to flex, throw finesse, peace to bless those. They say free, say test, hope, we say peace, but stay woke.
To this day, we really don't hear the voice or the story of, an Asian American woman and what her experience was like. And so I want to make sure I challenge that narrative, especially in the mainstream, and make sure that my story is told, that I document who I am and where I come from, because who knows, at the end of the day, maybe it inspires another young girl out there who might feel like, oh, I have a story to tell, and, my voice is powerful too.
'Cause I'm finally here. Yeah, I'm finally here.
Love that. And if people want to get in contact with you, they want to follow you and all your adventures and news.
The best way to follow me and to keep updated on my upcoming projects, my shows, and any other related news is to follow me on all my social media platforms at Ruby Ibarra. That's RUBYIBARRA.
Better stay in touch with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right, Ruby Ibarra, you are a gem. Thank you.